All right, I figure I'll show you guys today my ice bath setup. I perfected this over several years of trying to figure out what I was gonna do for an ice bath. I just absolutely refuse to spend several thousands of dollars on an ice bath. I think it's silly. If you have the money, cool. And someday if I have the money, maybe I'll do it. But right now it makes absolutely no sense. I'm gonna give you guys all the secrets in this video and make it easy for you. So what we got here is just a chest freezer. I got it from Best Buy. It's Insignia brand, nothing crazy. This one's lasted so far 4 years, I think. And then I use this. Inkbird is the brand. I'll put a link in the description. But what this does is monitors the temperatures. In the summertime, I set it at 45 degrees, and then in the wintertime, I bring it down. So this is obviously in the garage. It's not climate controlled. If I keep it in the 30s, I feel like the freezer does a lot of extra work. The freezer cost me, I think, 350 bucks, and I use the warranty, so it's like 400 and something bucks. Ice baths have a purpose, right? So they're twofold: one, recovery, and then two, the mental game. That being said, I don't think you need to sit in like 34-degree water and make it like super suck every single time you get in. I like to change it up and down and not stay the same. Just like in our training, the law of accommodation, same concept with an ice bath. If you're always doing the same temperature, the same time frame, your body becomes accustomed to the stimulus and you're not getting the same out of it. So I think you gotta fluctuate that. I'll go from in the 30s for a while, short time frame, maybe like 2 to 3 minutes at super cold water temperature, and then I'll alternate that and I'll go up 44, 45 degrees, and I'll do 10 to 15 minutes in that water. Constantly changing it, never staying at the same. Usually in the wintertime is when I drop it to the lower temperatures. Freezer does less work. That Inkbird temperature gauge that I showed you guys, you'll set a temperature on that thing and you can set a range. Like if it goes up to 46, that's when it kicks on automatically, turns the freezer on until it gets down to about 44, shuts it off. So automatically keeps the temperature at the same range 24/7. One of the biggest expenses with homemade ice baths is ice. So that's why I use a chest freezer, and I'll show you guys how to do it safely here in a second. What I'll also do is this. You buy this mold for an ice block, and every day when I get out of the ice bath, I fill that up with water. After I jump out of the ice bath, I throw that block in there, let it cool back down, and then turn the freezer back on. Usually that block of ice will bring the temperature down to where I want it anyway, and the freezer doesn't even kick on, so it rarely jumps on. There's a temperature gauge that runs into the ice bath. I tape it up a few inches, and then I put it in the end of a pool noodle here. The reason for that, if it sits up against the wall and the freezer kicks on, it measures the temperature incorrectly. It'll say it's colder than it actually is because it's measuring obviously the coldest part of the freezer when this kicks on. So when the door closes, this sits in the middle and floats and gets actual temperature of the center of the water. So it's actually the temperature that it's reading. Obviously it's a little gross right now, so I'll show you guys how I clean it. And this will be kind of hard to see, but the way chest freezers are made, they've got obviously the 4 corner legs so that you can make it level. What that does though is leave the middle unsupported. So if you're heavier, like I am, 220 pounds plus all that water weight, it kind of caves down in the center of it. So what I did underneath the bottom was built a platform essentially to make it nice and level, but also fully supported across the bottom. Kind of see it, it's just a board underneath it, but it's built at an angle so that it's still level. You want the freezer to be level so it functions properly. Two biggest things with these chest freezers, it's an electrical component, right? So when we use it, we unplug it. Every time before I take an ice bath, I unplug it. If you go fully submerged, which I do sometimes, put a snorkel on and go all the way underneath the water, I'll put like a towel across the edge, like over here somewhere. So that way if the door does somehow fall, it's not going to, but like if the door were to fall, it doesn't close you inside because that suction will actually make it difficult to open it back up. So just throw a towel over the edge so it doesn't close on you. Every seam in here has been sealed with a clear caulk that's made for water. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary. The reason I do it is so the water doesn't get into those seams and create any rust or issues on the internal components. So it's just caulked everywhere, nice and even. When I clean it like I'm going to do today, I'll check every seam and make sure the caulk is holding up. If I got to replace it, I'll replace it. So I'll show you guys how I empty it. So one of the things I did on the freezer is that I sealed the plugs. So obviously there's a drain plug on it for when your freezer needs drained. I sealed that because I don't want that to come open on accident or water to leak through there in my garage. So that's sealed shut. Makes emptying it a little more difficult. Got just a regular wet vac. Take the filter off the top part, put it together. And now I guess a little disclaimer, because I'm always worried about people being dumb, but if you do this ice bath setup and you somehow like hurt yourself, that's on you. Just full disclaimer, this is educational, only showing you what I do. So there's that. But I've done this for probably 15 years, never had a problem, works just fine. So once you have that shop vac set up, I put it in the corner of the ice bath here, close the lid to keep it secure, obviously, so it's not flying around. And then I have a really long attachment, goes all the way to the shop back here, and then at the bottom is the drain plug. So with the drain plug, you don't want it fully closed obviously, so I'll just set it on the edge and I'll turn on. So I'll leave it on for a few seconds, turn it off. It's kind of like a siphon effect, and just let it drain for as long as it'll drain, and then once it's done draining, put the cap back on and just repeat that over and over until it's empty. All the water's been removed. Obviously you can see all the gunk kind of still in the bottom and just on the sides of the walls here, so it's dirty. I do this about every 4 months. I don't do it very often. I'll use hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, stuff like that to keep it clear. But I also don't get in this thing dirty. Like I rinse off before I jump in it. So I mean, and I've got a filter as well, like a little aquarium filter I'll throw in occasionally when I start to see stuff floating around. And that keeps it good for about 4 months. But when I clean it, just use some like Clorox cleaner with bleach and just douse the whole thing. So after that sits for about 15 minutes, get a sponge, scrub it, rinse it off again, suck all that water out. I'll put a link in here as well for the little filter I use. It's a little like small aquarium filter. Like it was 15 bucks on Amazon. It's not gonna get the water like perfectly clear, but you'll notice over time there's like stuff that starts to float around in there. It'll suck all that out and it looks pretty clear once it's done. Grab a hose and just rinse it off. Scrub this bad boy. It's all rinsed off, shiny and clean. You can see all that stuff is gone from scrubbing it and all the gunk's in the bottom. So now we're gonna suck all that out. All right, now it's all clean. I'll take a rag, just a regular cloth. And I'll just wipe the whole thing down, make sure we get everything out. Once it's completely dry, then I'll fill it back up with clean water.